And accordingly, you have to proceed. It means what? Like, this is the requirement in functional way. Nobody is going to give you the technical requirement. So you have to create one employee controller, then you have to create one employee class. Nobody is going to give like this. As a software engineer, you have to understand the functional requirement and you have to convert it into the technical requirement. So this is how in industry people used to get project. Now question is coming ki each all developer is able to understand the functional requirement properly and they are able to convert that functional requirement into technical requirement. Answer is no. There is a people called business analyst. So these people understand the technical team also and the business requirement also. And then after the pieces are going to be converted into the small tasks, and then the development team start developing on that. So let's consider we are a team and we got a requirement कि आपको पूरा you have to complete the employee module where these four functionalities supposed to work completely. It should go into database and this all end-to-end flow supposed to be started. And how we are proceeding, this is how we are going to learn. So if you look at this, we have created a brand new Spring Boot project. Under that,
Mm-hmm.
we have added JPA, if you remember, and H2 database. H2 database is an in-memory database, but if you want, you can replace this H2 database with any of the database. I will show you in properties file how you can put the details related to your existing database. But right now, let's try understanding. We have JPA, web, and H2 database. So first and most important things, as I told you, the starting point of your application is supposed to be this. There is no change here. One, you have to create a controller. There you have to put one hello or something like this to test whether the phrase brand new Spring Boot application is working fine or not. And then after you have to start developing the further requirement. So what we will be doing here, we are going to design the all REST API methods for create, update, delete, and get. So this is the one method which I have created for get all employees. But if you look at the real-time project, it is having a UI, controller, service, DAO, and database. This is the flow. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to create one more package, or I can say interface first. And this is going to be employee service. So if you don't know the interface of core Java, then again you will be getting a slight confusion. But in real time, people used to follow some design pattern for their project, and this is one of the factory design
Okay.
pattern. In interface, we used to write a method which is completely unimplemented. It means it's not having body. So what I will do here, first I will put public. Public is not required in interface method because it's already public. So you can start void save employee, one of the method, and what we are going to pass here, employee object. Employee object we are passing, and we are putting semicolon. So when you put semicolon, it means what? It is a declaration of your function. If you're coming from C and C++ background, you must have seen the declaration, definition, and calling. Function is having a very basic structure. That's 3 steps only: declaration, definition, and calling. Whereas in Java, class is not supporting the declaration. If you put in class body this declaration, it will be error. So let me change quickly this class and look at this. You are going to get an error because class is saying whenever you will be putting the method inside my body, it's supposed to be a body, not the semicolon. Well, but in interface, we can put. Similarly, what we're going to do is we are also going to write one more method called list of employee. So I want two functions to be functioning first. One is create and another one is get all. So this method is going to give get all employee. And here I'm not going to pass anything as a parameter. The reason is get all means whatever is there, that all I want to get. So get all employee. Two methods I have defined under the interface, and these two interface, this interface is having just a declaration. So idea is whenever you want to add a different function, update employee, delete employee, keep adding the function something like this. Same employee, I'm expecting there should be no return type, and for get all employee, I'm going to return all the list of employee. So if you have an interface, why can't we put it into a service layer? So the good practice is whatever class, whatever service layer things are there, put into a separate package. So here is the option I can move into the service. So my interface is here. So once we have an interface, then we have to define one implementation of this interface, and that's where you're going to create a class. So we are going to write employee service IMPL. Okay, so IMPL stands for implementation. Now this class will implement this employee service interface. So the moment you will inherit from an interface, then you will get an error because you need to override the all unimplemented method. This is how you have to think about. Okay, so these are the two methods we have defined inside interface. In fact, declared inside the interface, and this class is going to have the override of this. I'm pretty sure here I'm using the core Java concept called interface, inheritance, method overriding. These all concepts are of core Java. That's OOPS, right? So if you are not very clear with the OOPS concept, I'm pretty sure you will be getting a lot of doubt and confusion. But don't worry, once I will be coming back to you, Vasvi, after core Java course, then you will be getting it 100%. But think about
Okay,
right
sir.
now, this is the method, how we are going to achieve the business logic. So this is the one. One more interesting things, whichever class is a service class, just like a controller class, we have put at the rate of controller, there is something called at the rate of service annotation. So Spring is suggesting you, whichever class is your service class, try putting at the rate of service annotation. Now, after that, I'm going to create one more layer, that is DAO layer. Because we have controller now, we have a service now, we have to create now DAO layer. And let's see how we are creating the DAO layer. Go here, create one more interface called employee DAO. And this guy will implement, or I can say extends, with something called CRUD repository. So this is from the Spring side. So CRUD repository is having the all CRUD related operation. Before Spring Boot, we used to write our save, update, all the methods here only. But now things are changed. So what we can do is we are just going to implement with the CRUD repository. This CRUD repository is for employee related operations. If you go to this CRUD repository, let me show you. There are so many methods available which you can directly call, like save all, find all, save method. There are so many methods, delete, update, delete method. Lots of methods are there, which we can directly use without actually defining that method. On the top of that, let's first move this to DAO layer. Just like service package, I have created a DAO package also. So this is the real-time structure. We should follow this. On the top of that, you need to put another annotation called repository. So again, what Spring Boot is saying to you? Okay, Sana has joined. So on the top of your DAO layer, Spring Boot is saying, just like a controller, just like a at the rate of service, at the rate of repository supposed to be on the DAO layer. So now if you look at my flow, we have a controller from controller, we will be reaching to the service layer. And from service layer, we are reaching to the DAO layer. And from DAO layer, we will be going to the database. So this flow I'm trying to achieve. Hi, Sana. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Sorry for the delay.
No problem. So we are continuing with the last class project, which we have started, employee CRUD operations. Okay, so let's get started. I have recorded the session from beginning. So whatever things you have missed, you can follow it from the video. Okay,
Thank you.
let's move ahead. So now we have a DAO layer, we have a service layer, we have a controller, everything is in place. The only thing is that we have to link it. So this controller is saying, I have to go to service layer. So what we need to do is we have to define private employee survey, employee service, employee service. Employee service, something like this. And on the top of that, we need to write auto wire. You remember auto wiring concept of Spring IOC. So the moment I will be now, see, first we have created controller first, then after we have created service layer, then after we have created the repository. Now we have to link it from controller to service, service to DAO. So what we did right now, we have auto wired the service layer. Now this service layer is going to be interacted to the, controller layer is going to be interacted with the service layer. Let's come to the get all employee here. This guy is a declaration. Let's go to the service layer. Now service layer have to communicate to DAO layer. So what I'm gonna do, private employee DAO employee DAO, and this guy is going to auto wide again. Yeah. So if you look at now flow, I have connected from service layer to DAO layer. And what you need to do is simply employee DAO dot find all. The problem is this find all method is returning a iterable object, and we are expecting a list of employee. So what we have to do now, we have to convert this iterable. So this is the things, this pure business logic of core Java. You should know how to convert the iterable okay. So this is how I got iterable. Now I have to prepare one employee list. So for that purpose, I'm writing a core Java logic, guys. So don't be confused. It's pure logic how can convert a iterable object into list. And we are saying employees equal to new array list, and then after we have to use while loop, while iterable dot next. No, how we can convert iterable to a list. Let me try. Employee colon iterable, and then employee dot employees dot add each employee. And finally, we are going to return my employees object. Okay. So this is how we have converted our iterable object into a list object. The whole logic is how we can convert iterable into list. Okay. Now, here is the trick I am going to give you. Let's say this is the first time you are learning iterable. It's a core Java collection concept, but if you're not knowing this, okay, let's see how we will be searching in the internet. We will be going here and we're writing how to convert iterable into list in Java. See, you got it? You open any of this, but I will prefer going to the Stack Overflow. This guy is having a better answer. Let's go down, look at this. You are getting a lots of option, and the best way is that you have to use the lambda wala part. So whatever lines of code I have written, it's a matter of just adding one line. See, I have a iterable object. I have a list object. Instead of for loop, I will be simply doing this, and this is my target for each remaining. This is the method, if I'm not wrong. Source and target colon this for each. The above code is iterator if you're dealing with iterable. I'm not sure this which version of Java it is looking. Instead of for each remaining, it's a matter, it's a for each basically. Yeah, see, no need to use a for loop now. If you don't know, see, they're clearly saying this is your iterable, create one list and call the source dot for each target add. And that's all. We have successfully converted the iterable object into a list. So this is how it's supposed to be. Similarly, employee DAO have to save my object dot save and pass the employee object. That's all. So we have two methods ready. And now see the flow. From UI, somebody will be passing you the employee request. It is coming to controller. Controller will go get all employee. It will be going to the service layer. In service layer, you are saying, I'm going for the DAO layer. So you are first going to the DAO layer. In fact, I will tell you, first get the data, then create a list object. You got the employee details. Now the client is looking for a list of data. So what I did is I just converted the iterable into list and finally returning the list of employee. This is how I'm doing. Not only that, in controller, I also want to have one more method for saving purpose. So here we will be going public public and the method supposed to return something. So I'm going to just say a string save employee. And there is an annotation called request body. If you have remembered last class, there's something called request body. And this request body gonna hold my employee object, employee. For that, I need to, let me define something like this. And on the top of post mapping, employee. And in fact, here also let it be employee only because we have changed the method name employee, and this should be employee something like this, and this guy should return employee saved successfully. Okay, now you have a service layer, employee service, employee service dot save pass the employee object. That's all. Okay, so now from controller, I'm going to service layer. From service layer, I'm going to the DAO layer, and from DAO layer, it will be going to save in database. We have not installed any database or something like that. The reason is once again.
Yeah.
Okay, so now it's time to run this application. In fact, what I want to put controller also in a separate package. So I will go here, nick dot controller. Option Eclipse will give you. You want to create a new package? I will say yes. Since I'm using H2 database, and H2 database is basically holding the in-memory database, so you don't need to do any setup for database. It will be directly going to store into the database. And I'm going to run now this application. Let me see what is my port. It's a 8080, so I'm expecting application should be up on 8080. Let's run this. See, if you look at these automatically Hibernate related things, everything is connected. It means what? H2 database is up and helping us for DAO operation. Now, open the Postman. You remember I told you for testing a REST API, you have to have Postman. So in our case, you need to only focus on the controller class. What is the endpoint for your controller? So let's go to the controller first. In controller, I have employee, and then I have to pass the employee details. So what I will do is localhost 8080/employee and change the method name to, okay, let it be get only first. I'm getting empty. The reason is there is no data right now in my database. And means what? Our get call is success. Look at the status. It's a 200. Okay. But now I have to put some data, post some data, create some data. So here I will be going ID, I will give 1, name I will give ABC, and age I will give as 24. Remember, it's supposed to match with your employee class. So if you go to employee class, you have an ID, you have a name, you have an age. Your ID is an integer. So remember, if you pass in a format of a string, it will be failing. So I have to just pass 1. Or this is not meaningful because we have given auto-generated. So ID value will be ignored. But for a time being, you have to pass according to the data types of your class. If a string name is a string, you have to put in double quotes. If ID and age is an integer, you have to put just like this. And now I'm expecting this particular object supposed to be stored in the database. Let's click on send. I'm getting employee saved successfully. It means what? One record is successfully inserted into my table. How we can test? Just change this method to get and click on send. Congratulations, guys. Look at this. We are getting the data now from the database. So our create and get all is working as expected. Nothing. The moment you have clicked on post method, you put a post method, then it came here. You are already passing the value of employee from here. You seen in a post call, we were passing the employee details here, and same details is put into this object. And this controller is saying, I don't have to do anything. I'm just passing to the service layer. Service layer is responsible to save it. Service layer is saying, no, 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 I'm also not doing anything. I'm just passing to the DAO layer. DAO layer is knowing how to save this. And the moment you are coming to the DAO layer is having the CRUD repository enabled. CRUD repository is already having a save method. That is the reason we have not defined save method here, but still we are able to call that. And this is how it's gonna work in real time, guys. Now
Okay.
somebody is coming to you saying that, hey, I don't want the all employee, I want a specific employee. What you need to do, we just define one more method, something like this: get employee by ID. See how the real-time project is going to be. And after slash, you have to push curly braces ID. It means what? You are expecting some record with a specific ID. This time, your get employee method is just having get all method. So let me define one more method in my service layer. Eclipse will ask you, do you want to add it? You say, yes, create one more method for me. And this guy will be creating one more. In the service IMPL, it will give you error because it will ask you to override the another method also. And same way, copy the whole code here and paste it here. Find all ke badle, there should be something called find by ID. Yeah, that's all. One sec, I have to pass the ID. I forgot that. So there's something called path variable. So if you use path variable, then from the path variable, same ID I have to pass here. The other guy will complain, you have told me that there is no argument. Why you are passing argument? So I will say him, don't worry, I'm giving you this. Don't shout. You have now ID. And whatever ID you got, pass to this find all by ID. This guy is going to do the similar jobs, find all by ID. Why it is complaining? Find by ID. There is a method called find by ID. If you look at this find by ID, what exactly this guy is saying? The return type of this method is a optional T, right? It means what? Dot get employee. Okay. So it will give you the single employee. There is no need for list. But even though you want to keep as a list, very simple. So I will be simply copying this and employees dot add something like this, get, remove the previous, remove this, put semicolon. Yeah, see, this is how you will be changing the logic. I come to know now, this find by ID is not returning me iterable. It is returning a single object of employee. So I thought, why can't we directly put into the add method to get it done? And that's what I'm doing because my return type is a list. I don't want to change the signature of this method because it might be that there might be some more records with this ID. That time I need a list of employee, and that is the reason I did so. So now if you run this application, your H2 database will be cleaning that. The moment I will be restarting it, the previous record will be deleted because it's an in-memory database. Remember, in-memory database is available till your application is running. Once your application is stopped, your H2 database is gone, right? That's the reason I have to restart it. And don't think like that. The previous one which I have added, It is still there. Now let's run it again. Right click, run as Java application. Okay, clear it. Come here. First of all, call the get method and see what's happening. It is returning me empty because you restarted the application, all data is gone. Go to post method, under post method, make a call, employee saved successfully, make another call, second, it is XYZ, and this is 34. Let's send it. 2 records I have created. Let's go for get again and hit it. You can see that 2 records are coming now. But what I want a specific one. So click on send. Congratulations. You are just getting the only 1 record. So this is how in real time we are developing a project. How simple it is. Now, what are the other things we have to take care? For this, logger. Okay. Now, guys, one more thing you have to understand. Whenever you are developing an application, it's very, very important for you to write a proper logger statement. How we can write a logger statement? Look at this. If something went wrong, your user will not come to know that what happened. So that we have to put a proper logger. And how to define a logger? This is how it's supposed to be. Logger is going to be defined in this way. Create one for private static final logger class, logger object. And then after whatever class is there, get the logger for that class. And once you have this, see how to put things. You have to put something like this. Logger.info. Info in the sense it will definitely come. Debug in the sense once you are running in debug mode, then only it will come. So I have to tell here testing application. See, this is the proper logger for this method. Because what you're doing, you're checking whether it's working or not. So you have to give in testing application. What about this one? You have to say logger info saving employee. Okay, saving employee. And if you want to print that employee object, that also you can do so that user will understand which employee is going to be saved. If you go to employee class, I have not overridden the toString method. Let me override the toString method so that the complete details of that employee will be printed before saving it. So this is the production kinds of code. Initial, whatever I given you, it's for development. But when your application is going for production, you should have to maintain all these loggers and all, right? So see how to put a loggers. This is how it's gonna be. So employee.save. Okay, proceed further. Similarly, here what you are doing? You are doing something fetching all employee, right? So put a logger again here and tell the users fetching all employee, right? This is how it's supposed to be there. Similarly, you have to go to the service layer because most of the logic is written in service layer. Oh my God, where I'm writing these whole things. It is not in our, the one which I have created right now. CRUD repository example. Mine was Spring CRUD here, no? Employee controller. This one. No worries. Let me copy this and directly paste it here. What is wrong? Employee.save service.save is nothing but save employee. That's all I have to change. Okay, so this is how your logger is supposed to be. Now go to service layer. Service layer also you have to do the same thing. Go to the service layer and under service IMPL, wherever you are doing so, put the logger properly. Again, saving employee, not this, not the saving employee. Saving employee is here. So you have to tell them saving employee. But before that, we have to define a logger in this class also. So copy the previous one, come to the service IMPL, paste it here, only copy this class and replace this class, something like this. Your logger